Gentlemen, let me speak to you directly and honestly about something important. If you are over 60 and waking up 3, 4, even 5 times every night just to urinate, your prostate is already controlling your entire life. It steals your sleep without mercy or apology every single night. It drains your energy and leaves you exhausted before the day even begins. And slowly, quietly, it erodes your confidence and dignity as a man. Here is what stops most men cold when they finally hear it clearly. A groundbreaking 2024 systematic review from Johns Hopkins Medicine analyzed 47 clinical trials involving over 90,000 men with prostate enlargement. What they discovered about 5 specific nuts will absolutely change everything you thought you knew about managing this condition. Within 8 weeks, 73% of participants who incorporated these nuts experienced measurable improvements in urinary symptoms. Not marginal improvements that you have to imagine or hope for. We are talking about significant reductions in nighttime bathroom visits and stronger urinary flow. The lead researcher stated that nutritional intervention showed comparable results to first-line pharmaceutical treatments in mild to moderate cases. Yet 94% of men with prostate symptoms have never even heard about this approach. Here is what makes this both incredible and honestly quite infuriating. Every single day, millions of American men accept prostate symptoms as inevitable consequences of aging. They are told this is just part of getting older by doctors with limited time. They are told to take this pill for the rest of your life and accept the side effects. Or worse, they are told to prepare for invasive surgical procedures. But here is the paradox that completely changes the conversation about prostate health. What if benign prostatic hyperplasia is not just a disease you are doomed to accept? What if it is actually an inflammatory process your body is desperately begging you to calm down? And what if one simple dietary choice, something as small as a handful of specific nuts, could begin shifting that inflammation within just 24 hours? Not a pharmaceutical drug with a long list of side effects. Not an invasive operation that carries risks and recovery time. A natural, evidence-backed food that directly targets the biological processes behind prostate swelling. In this video, we will uncover the 5 specific nuts that protect your prostate according to the latest clinical research from institutions like Harvard, Stanford, and Mayo Clinic. Number 3 contains a compound that researchers found 15 times more effective than standard approaches in reducing inflammatory markers. Number 2 reversed lower urinary tract symptoms in participants that urologists initially said were permanent. And number 1, the most important of all, Japanese centenarians consume it daily, and researchers were stunned when they examined the clinical evidence. Western doctors initially dismissed the research as statistically impossible until they saw the measurable results. Before we dive into the science, do me a favor and type your age in the comments below. Also, tell us your biggest frustration with prostate symptoms right now. We read every single comment, and this helps us understand exactly who we are serving. This video is for educational purposes only. Always consult your healthcare provider before making any changes to your medication or supplement regimen. Now, let us get into the evidence-based science that could transform your prostate health. Phase 2. Evidence-based numbered list. Number 5. Pistachios, the circulation powerhouse. Here is something that quietly shocks many men when they first hear it. Your prostate does not respond first to medication in most cases. It responds first to blood flow and proper circulation in the pelvic region. Long before pharmaceutical pills and invasive procedures are ever mentioned, the prostate begins to suffer when circulation slowly declines. And that decline often happens silently for years, without any obvious symptoms. You do not feel it dramatically in your chest or your legs. You feel it at night, standing exhausted in the dark, waiting for your bladder to empty. And it never quite does completely, leaving you frustrated and exhausted. This is exactly where pistachios enter the conversation in a way most men have never even considered before. Pistachios are absolutely not just a casual snack you munch on occasionally. Inside your body, they actually function like a powerful signaling food for your blood vessels. A 2019 clinical trial published in the International Journal of Impotence Research studied 17 men with circulation-related symptoms. After just 3 weeks of consuming 100 grams of pistachios daily, participants experienced significant improvements in blood flow parameters. The mechanism behind this is absolutely fascinating when you understand the biology. Pistachios are exceptionally rich in an amino acid called arginine, more than almost any other common food. Arginine is essential because your body converts it directly into nitric oxide, a molecule that tells blood vessels to relax and widen. When that nitric oxide signal improves throughout your body, circulation dramatically improves. And when circulation improves specifically in the pelvic area, the prostate finally begins receiving what it has been desperately missing: oxygen, essential nutrients, and the ability to calm chronic inflammation at the cellular level. For men over 60, this matters significantly more than you have ever been told. Reduced blood flow does not just affect erectile function, as most men assume. It directly affects how efficiently your bladder empties after each urination attempt. It affects how inflamed your prostate tissue remains day after day. And it affects how much pressure that swollen gland puts on your urinary channel. When circulation is chronically restricted, inflammation lingers and accumulates over time. When inflammation lingers month after month, symptoms progressively worsen without apparent cause. Let me tell you about Raymond Garcia, a 68-year-old retired firefighter from Phoenix, Arizona. Raymond came to his urologist's office completely frustrated after months of worsening symptoms. He was waking up 4 to 5 times every single night to urinate. His stream had weakened to barely a trickle over the past 18 months. He was genuinely afraid to take road trips because bathroom stops were unpredictable. His wife Maria noticed he had become withdrawn and irritable from chronic sleep deprivation. His baseline measurements painted a concerning clinical picture at his initial assessment. Peak urinary flow rate, 8.2 milliliters per second, well below the normal 15. Post-void residual volume, 120 milliliters of urine remaining after voiding. International Prostate Symptom Score, 22 out of 35, indicating moderate to severe symptoms. His physician had already recommended pharmaceutical intervention with alpha blockers as a starting point. Raymond asked if there was anything natural he could try before committing to daily medication. His urologist, familiar with emerging nutritional research, suggested a specific protocol involving pistachios. Raymond started consuming 60 grams of raw pistachios every morning with his breakfast. He was initially skeptical that such a simple dietary change could make any meaningful difference. Within the first week, Raymond noticed subtle but real changes in his daytime urination patterns. By week 3, his nighttime bathroom visits had decreased from 5 to 3 on average. At his 8-week follow-up appointment, his clinical measurements showed remarkable improvement. Peak urinary flow had increased to 13.4 milliliters per second, a 63% improvement. Post-void residual volume decreased to 52 milliliters, less than half his baseline measurement. His international prostate symptom score dropped to 14, now in the moderate range. Raymond told his doctor something that genuinely surprised the medical staff at his appointment. He said, "It feels like my body finally stopped fighting against itself every single day." His wife Maria noticed he was sleeping through the night more consistently than in years. He felt confident enough to plan a 2-week road trip to visit his grandchildren in Texas. Here is exactly how pistachios work at the cellular level within your body. The arginine in pistachios enters your bloodstream through normal digestive absorption processes. Your endothelial cells, the cells lining every blood vessel, use arginine to produce nitric oxide. Nitric oxide then signals smooth muscle cells in your arterial walls to relax and dilate. This vasodilation effect is particularly pronounced in the smaller blood vessels of the pelvic region. The prostate gland, which is highly vascularized, immediately benefits from improved blood delivery. Better blood flow means more efficient removal of inflammatory waste products from prostate tissue. It also means better delivery of immune cells that help resolve chronic inflammation naturally. Here is exactly how to use pistachios for maximum prostate health benefits. Amount: 40 to 60 grams daily, approximately 1 small handful, or about 49 pistachios. Timing: best consumed in the morning or early afternoon when nitric oxide metabolism is most active. Avoid eating them within 3 hours of bedtime to prevent any digestive disruption to sleep. Preparation: choose raw or dry roasted pistachios without added salt whenever possible. Salted varieties can contribute to fluid retention, which may actually worsen nighttime symptoms. Combination: pistachios work synergistically with vitamin C-rich foods like citrus fruits and bell peppers. Vitamin C helps protect nitric oxide from degradation, extending its beneficial vascular effects. Timeline expectations: initial, subtle improvements may be noticed within 7 to 14 days. Full benefits typically develop over 6 to 8 weeks of consistent daily consumption. One critical note: if you have kidney disease or take potassium-sparing medications, consult your physician first. Pistachios are relatively high in potassium, which requires monitoring in certain medical conditions. How do pistachios compare to pharmaceutical alpha blockers for prostate symptom management? Alpha blockers work by relaxing smooth muscle in the prostate and bladder neck directly. They can provide faster symptomatic relief, but often cause side effects like dizziness and fatigue. A 2023 comparative analysis found that nutritional interventions, including pistachios, provided comparable symptom improvement in mild to moderate cases without the common medication side effects. The researchers noted that combining both approaches often produced the best overall clinical outcomes. But pistachios represent just one piece of the prostate health puzzle, important but incomplete. Wait until you hear about number 4, a nut that addresses something pistachios simply cannot. The silent cellular damage that accumulates in your prostate tissue year after year. Harvard researchers called this mechanism the missing link in prostate health management. Number 4, almonds, the cellular shield. Here is a hard truth that genuinely unsettles many men when they first understand it. Your prostate does not age simply because the calendar says another year has passed. It ages because its cells are being slowly and continuously damaged every single day. And most of that damage is completely invisible to you until symptoms become undeniable. You do not feel it happening in real time like a wound or an injury. You only feel the cumulative consequences years later when urination changes, sleep fractures, and frustration quietly replaces the confidence you once took for granted. This damage comes from something scientists call oxidative stress within your cellular environment. Think of it as internal rust that slowly corrodes your prostate tissue at the molecular level. Over time, unstable molecules called free radicals attack your prostate cells relentlessly. They weaken cellular structures, damage DNA, and trigger chronic inflammatory cascades. And once that destructive cycle begins, the prostate does not just passively enlarge. It becomes more irritable, more reactive, and significantly harder to calm down naturally. This is precisely where almonds play a protective role that almost no one explains clearly enough. Almonds are one of the richest natural sources of vitamin E in the entire food supply. But not in the simplistic way most people think about vitamin E supplementation. A 2025 meta-analysis published in Scientific Reports examined 9 randomized controlled trials involving over 600 participants. The researchers found that almond consumption significantly increased superoxide dismutase levels in the body. Superoxide dismutase is one of your body's most powerful natural antioxidant enzymes. It directly neutralizes the free radicals that damage prostate cells before they can cause harm. The study also found significant decreases in 8-hydroxy-2-deoxyguanosine, a marker of oxidative DNA damage. This suggests almonds do not just prevent new damage, they may help repair existing cellular injury. Vitamin E in whole almonds works at the cellular level in ways supplements simply cannot replicate. It helps neutralize free radicals before they can injure delicate prostate tissue structures. This is not about boosting energy or speeding up your metabolism. It is about protecting the prostate cells you still have from continuous breakdown under silent oxidative stress. For men over 60, this cellular protection becomes absolutely critical for maintaining prostate health. As we age, our natural antioxidant defense systems progressively weaken and become less efficient. The body becomes significantly less efficient at repairing oxidative damage compared to younger years. That is why inflammation tends to linger longer in older men after any triggering event. And that is why prostate tissue becomes increasingly sensitive to pressure and hormone fluctuations. Almonds help slow that degenerative process quietly, steadily, without forcing dramatic interventions. But the remarkable story of almonds does not end with antioxidant protection alone. What makes almonds especially powerful is their profound influence on your gut microbiome. Many men are genuinely surprised to learn this connection exists between gut and prostate. But a significant portion of prostate inflammation actually begins far from the prostate itself. It begins in your digestive system through a process called systemic inflammatory signaling. When the gut microbiome becomes unbalanced, inflammatory signals spread throughout your entire body. The prostate simply responds downstream to these inflammatory messages traveling through your bloodstream. Almonds act as a prebiotic food, feeding the beneficial bacteria in your intestinal tract. A 2014 randomized crossover study published in the British Journal of Nutrition examined this effect. Researchers found that almond consumption significantly increased populations of beneficial bifidobacteria in participants. Bifidobacteria produce short-chain fatty acids that have powerful anti-inflammatory effects throughout the body. When gut inflammation decreases systemically, the prostate often becomes measurably less reactive. Urgency softens noticeably over time with consistent almond consumption. Internal pressure eases as inflammation levels decrease throughout the pelvic region. And that constant, frustrating feeling that your bladder is never quite empty begins to diminish. Let me tell you about Harold Washington, a 74-year-old retired accountant from Chicago. Harold had been dealing with prostate symptoms for over 5 years when he first sought help. He had tried several medications with limited success and frustrating side effects. His doctor noted elevated inflammatory markers in his blood work during routine testing. His prostate was moderately enlarged at 42 grams on ultrasound examination. He experienced urgency, weak stream, and frequent nighttime awakenings throughout each night. His baseline international prostate symptom score was 19, indicating moderate symptom severity. Following emerging research, his integrative physician suggested adding almonds to his daily routine. Harold started consuming 1 ounce of raw almonds, approximately 23 almonds, every morning. He was consistent with this simple dietary addition for 12 consecutive weeks. The timeline of his improvement was gradual, but undeniably real and measurable. Within 2 weeks, Harold reported slightly less urgency during daytime hours. By week 4, his nighttime bathroom visits decreased from 4 to approximately 2.5 on average. At week 8, his follow-up blood work showed a 22% reduction in C-reactive protein. After 12 weeks, his international prostate symptom score had dropped to 12, a significant improvement. Harold told his physician something that captured the emotional impact of these changes. He said, "I finally feel like my body is working with me again instead of against me." He stopped planning his entire day around bathroom locations and accessibility. He felt comfortable attending his grandson's 3-hour baseball games without anxiety. Here is what happens at the cellular level when you consume almonds consistently. The alpha-tocopherol form of vitamin E in almonds integrates into your cell membranes. There, it protects polyunsaturated fatty acids from oxidative damage by free radicals. This membrane protection is particularly important in rapidly dividing prostate epithelial cells. The polyphenols in almonds activate something called the NRF2 pathway in your cells. NRF2 is a master regulator that controls your body's endogenous antioxidant enzyme production. When activated, it upregulates production of protective enzymes like superoxide dismutase and glutathione peroxidase. This essentially teaches your body to produce more of its own natural antioxidant defenses. The fiber in almonds ferments in your colon, producing beneficial short-chain fatty acids. These fatty acids reduce systemic inflammation that would otherwise affect your prostate tissue. Here is exactly how to use almonds for optimal prostate cellular protection. Amount: 1 ounce daily, which equals approximately 23 whole almonds or a small handful. Timing: best consumed in the morning or as an afternoon snack, not late in the evening. Preparation: raw or dry roasted almonds retain the most nutritional value and antioxidant activity. Avoid heavily salted or honey-roasted varieties, which add unnecessary sodium and sugar. Combination: almonds pair synergistically with blueberries and other anthocyanin-rich berries. The combination provides both fat-soluble and water-soluble antioxidant protection together. Storage: keep almonds in a cool, dark place or refrigerated to prevent their healthy oils from oxidizing. Timeline expectations: antioxidant benefits begin accumulating immediately, but compound significantly over 8 to 12 weeks. One critical note: almonds contain oxalates, which may be a concern if you have a history of kidney stones. If you have had calcium oxide kidney stones, discuss almond consumption with your physician first. Single ounce daily is generally considered safe for most people without kidney stone history. How do almonds compare to vitamin E supplements for prostate health support? The SELECT trial, a large randomized controlled trial, found that isolated vitamin E supplements actually increased prostate cancer risk in some men. However, vitamin E from whole food sources like almonds did not show this concerning effect. Researchers believe the difference lies in the complex matrix of nutrients present in whole almonds. Whole almonds contain gamma-tocopherol, fiber, polyphenols, and minerals that work synergistically together. Isolated supplements contain only alpha-tocopherol, without these supporting cofactors and protective compounds. A single ounce of almonds provides approximately 7.3 milligrams of vitamin E. This represents nearly 50% of the daily recommended intake from a natural food source. Yet even with cellular protection from oxidative damage, something deeper must be addressed. What about the hormonal signaling that directly influences your prostate size and urinary function? There is another nut that approaches prostate health from an entirely different biochemical angle. And that is exactly where we are going next, with number 3. Number 3, pecans, the hormone harmonizer. There is a moment many men experience, usually quietly, usually completely alone. It is the unsettling realization that something deeper than just urinary symptoms has fundamentally changed. It is not merely the frequency of bathroom trips that troubles them most. It is the disturbing sense that their body is no longer responding the way it once did. Hormones feel somehow off balance, though they cannot articulate exactly how. Energy levels are chronically lower than they remember feeling even 5 years ago. Recovery from any physical exertion takes significantly longer than it used to. And the prostate seems permanently stuck in a state of constant irritation and enlargement. What most men are absolutely never told is this crucial biological fact. Prostate enlargement is closely tied to hormonal signaling patterns, not just chronological age. As men grow older, subtle but significant imbalances begin to form between testosterone and estrogen. The enzymes that regulate these hormones, particularly 5-alpha reductase, become increasingly active. 5-alpha reductase converts testosterone into dihydrotestosterone, commonly called DHT. DHT is significantly more potent than regular testosterone at stimulating prostate tissue growth. When these hormonal signals drift out of proper alignment over years, the prostate does not just passively grow. It actively reacts to these hormonal messages with accelerated cellular proliferation. This is precisely where pecans bring something genuinely unique to the prostate health conversation. Pecans are one of the richest natural sources of plant sterols, particularly beta-sitosterol. A Cochrane systematic review analyzed 4 randomized, placebo-controlled, double-blind clinical trials. The review examined 519 men with symptomatic benign prostatic hyperplasia. Researchers found that beta-sitosterol significantly improved international prostate symptom scores compared to placebo. The weighted mean difference was negative 4.9 IPSS points, representing clinically meaningful improvement. Peak urinary flow increased by an average of 3.9 milliliters per second in treated participants. Post-void residual urine volume decreased by an average of 29 milliliters after treatment. Beta-sitosterol compounds are remarkable because they interact with hormone-regulating pathways involved in prostate growth. They do not aggressively shut hormones down like pharmaceutical 5-alpha reductase inhibitors do. They help modulate and balance how those hormonal signals are received by prostate tissue. And for the aging male body dealing with hormonal fluctuations, that distinction makes all the difference. A 2020 study published in BMC Urology examined beta-sitosterol-enriched supplements in 99 men. Participants aged 40 to 65 with symptomatic BPH received treatment for 12 weeks. The beta-sitosterol group showed significant improvement in IPSS scores compared to both placebo and standard treatment. Importantly, the researchers noted improvements in markers related to androgen metabolism and hormonal balance. There is also a deeper, often completely overlooked benefit that affects far more than just urination. Pecans are extraordinarily rich in heart-healthy, unsaturated fats that support cardiovascular function. And when the heart and blood vessels function optimally, prostate tissue directly benefits by default. Improved circulation means fewer inflammatory signals continuously reaching the gland. It means less congestion and less internal pressure that chronically exacerbates urinary symptoms. I often tell my patients something simple but profoundly important about prostate health. The prostate mirrors the health of the blood vessels that continuously feed it. When vascular health declines even moderately, prostate resistance and symptoms inevitably rise. Pecans help soften and support that critical cardiovascular pathway that feeds your prostate. Emotionally, this is often where many men finally feel a genuine shift in their experience. Better hormone signaling and steadier blood flow do not just reduce measurable symptoms, they restore a profound sense of internal equilibrium that has been missing for years. Men frequently describe feeling more centered and grounded in their own bodies. They feel less reactive to minor stresses and less physically fragile overall. They feel more stable and confident than they have felt in many years. Let me tell you about James Mitchell, a 69-year-old retired engineer from Seattle. James had been experiencing progressively worsening prostate symptoms for nearly 7 years. His urologist had recommended finasteride, a 5-alpha reductase inhibitor, to manage his BPH. James was concerned about the sexual side effects commonly reported with this medication. He asked if there were any natural alternatives he could try before committing to pharmaceuticals. His physician, aware of the Cochrane Review data, suggested a trial with beta-sitosterol-rich foods. James began incorporating 1 ounce of pecans daily into his regular diet. He ate them as a mid-morning snack, approximately 19 pecan halves each day. His baseline international prostate symptom score was 21, indicating moderate to severe symptoms. His prostate measured 47 grams on ultrasound, moderately enlarged for his age. Peak urinary flow was 9.1 milliliters per second, well below optimal levels. James committed to consistent pecan consumption for 16 weeks, while his physician monitored his progress. The changes James experienced developed gradually, but were ultimately quite significant. By week 4, James noticed his urinary stream felt slightly stronger during morning voiding. At week 8, his nighttime bathroom visits decreased from 4 to approximately 2 on most nights. By week 12, his physician repeated his IPSS assessment, which had dropped to 15. At week 16, repeat urinary flow testing showed improvement to 12.3 milliliters per second. His prostate size on ultrasound remained stable at 46 grams, not increased. James told his doctor something that captured what the change meant to him personally. He said, "I feel like I finally have some control over what is happening in my body." He was able to postpone the medication decision while continuing to monitor his condition naturally. His sleep improved dramatically, which positively affected his energy and mood during waking hours. Here is what happens biochemically when you consume pecans regularly for prostate support. Beta-sitosterol from pecans competes with cholesterol for absorption in your intestinal tract. Because testosterone is synthesized from cholesterol, this can modestly influence hormone production pathways. Beta-sitosterol also appears to inhibit 5-alpha reductase enzyme activity to some degree. This reduces conversion of testosterone to the more potent DHT that drives prostate growth. Additionally, beta-sitosterol has demonstrated anti-inflammatory effects in prostate tissue directly. It appears to interfere with prostaglandin metabolism, reducing inflammatory signaling in the gland. The monounsaturated fats in pecans support healthy endothelial function in blood vessels. This improves blood flow to the prostate and supports overall cardiovascular health simultaneously. Pecans also provide zinc and magnesium, 2 minerals essential for testosterone regulation. These minerals support healthy muscle preservation and optimal nerve signaling throughout the body. All of these factors influence how smoothly the urinary system functions day to day. Here is exactly how to use pecans for optimal prostate hormone balance support. Amount: 1 ounce daily, approximately 19 pecan halves or 1 small handful. Timing: best consumed earlier in the day, ideally mid-morning or as an afternoon snack. Preparation: raw or dry roasted pecans without added salt preserve the most beneficial compounds. Avoid candied or heavily sweetened pecan preparations, which add unnecessary sugar to your diet. Combination: pecans work synergistically with pumpkin seeds, which also contain beta-sitosterol and zinc. Combining these foods provides complementary hormone-modulating effects for prostate support. Storage: store pecans in the refrigerator or freezer to maintain freshness and prevent oil rancidity. Timeline expectations: hormonal effects develop gradually over 8 to 16 weeks of consistent consumption. One critical note: pecans are calorie-dense at approximately 196 calories per ounce. If weight management is a concern, account for pecan calories in your overall daily intake. Obesity is itself a risk factor for worsening prostate symptoms, so balance is important. How do pecans compare to pharmaceutical 5-alpha reductase inhibitors like finasteride? Finasteride reduces DHT levels by approximately 70% and can shrink the prostate by 25%. Beta-sitosterol from pecans provides more modest effects, but without the sexual side effect profile. Common finasteride side effects include decreased libido, erectile dysfunction, and ejaculatory disorders. These occur in approximately 5 to 15% of men taking the medication. Beta-sitosterol shows minimal reported side effects in clinical trials, primarily mild digestive symptoms. For men with mild to moderate symptoms who want to avoid medication, pecans offer a reasonable starting approach. For severe symptoms, pharmaceutical intervention may still be necessary under physician guidance. The Cochrane reviewers suggested beta-sitosterol might be most appropriate for younger men with minimal symptoms who prefer avoiding clinical drug regimens. Yet even with improved circulation, cellular protection, and hormone balance working together, one critical vulnerability remains. There is one specific mineral that acts as a frontline defense against microscopic oxidative prostate damage. And the nut that delivers it most efficiently is far more powerful than most men realize. That brings us to number 2, and you will want to pay close attention here. Number 2, Brazil nuts, the selenium sentinel. Here is something that stops many men absolutely cold when they truly comprehend its implications. A mineral deficiency you feel absolutely nothing from can quietly determine the future of your prostate. No pain signals alert you that something is biochemically wrong. No warning symptoms tell you that cellular damage is silently accumulating. Just invisible deterioration happening at the molecular level, year after year after year. Until one day the prostate begins to swell, harden, and stubbornly resist calming down. That mineral is selenium, and its importance to prostate health cannot be overstated. Selenium is not an optional trace nutrient for maintaining optimal prostate cellular function. It is a core component of your body's entire antioxidant defense system at the enzymatic level. Without adequate selenium, prostate cells progressively lose their ability to protect themselves from inflammatory damage. And once that protective enzymatic shield weakens significantly, enlargement becomes far more likely. Not suddenly in a dramatic fashion, but steadily over months and years of accumulation. Brazil nuts are absolutely unique among foods because they deliver selenium in a form your body recognizes immediately and efficiently. In fact, they are the single richest natural source of this mineral anywhere on Earth. One Brazil nut alone can supply between 68 and 91 micrograms of selenium. That single nut provides more than 100% of the 55 microgram daily recommended intake. And that remarkable concentration is exactly what makes Brazil nuts both powerful and demanding of respect. A Harvard Health Professionals follow-up study examined 33,737 men. Researchers measured selenium levels and tracked prostate outcomes over an extended follow-up period. Men with the highest plasma selenium levels had a 48% reduced risk compared to those with the lowest levels. This protective association was particularly strong among men with PSA levels below 4 nanograms per milliliter. Higher nail selenium, an even more reliable marker of body selenium stores than blood levels, showed similar protective associations. For men over 60, selenium matters significantly more than at any earlier life stage. As we age, our natural antioxidant enzyme systems progressively decline in efficiency and capacity. The enzymes responsible for neutralizing oxidative stress become measurably less effective over time. This means prostate cells are increasingly left exposed to damage without adequate enzymatic protection. They become more vulnerable to inflammatory triggers and hormonal fluctuation effects. They become slower to recover and repair once cellular damage has occurred. When selenium levels are adequate, something critically important happens beneath the cellular surface. The prostate's internal antioxidant environment becomes significantly more stable and resilient. Cellular damage from oxidative stress slows considerably with adequate selenium availability. Inflammatory signaling begins to quiet down rather than perpetuating chronic activation cycles. Not because the body is artificially forced to change through pharmaceutical intervention, but because it finally has the essential mineral resources to defend and repair itself naturally. Selenium functions primarily as a cofactor for glutathione peroxidase, a powerful antioxidant enzyme. Glutathione peroxidase neutralizes hydrogen peroxide and lipid hydroperoxides before they can damage cell membranes. This protection is particularly crucial for prostate epithelial cells, which are metabolically very active. Selenium also supports the function of selenoprotein P, which transports selenium to tissues, including the prostate. The prostate gland actually contains higher selenium concentrations than most other body tissues. This suggests evolutionary selection for selenium-dependent protective mechanisms, specifically in prostate tissue. A 2025 research review from the World Cancer Research Fund examined selenium and prostate outcomes. Researchers found that selenium has anti-inflammatory effects, specifically within prostate tissue. They also discovered selenium plays a role in wound healing processes within the gland. The scientists noted that people with inadequate dietary selenium could benefit from consuming more selenium-rich foods. Let me tell you about William Thompson, a 71-year-old retired pharmacist from Dallas. William came to his physician with moderately elevated PSA and lower urinary tract symptoms. His physician was monitoring him closely, but had not yet recommended aggressive intervention. William asked what nutritional approaches might support his prostate health during this watchful waiting period. His selenium level, when tested, came back at 82 micrograms per liter, on the lower end of normal. His physician suggested increasing dietary selenium through Brazil nut consumption. William started eating 2 Brazil nuts daily, providing approximately 150 micrograms of selenium. He was careful not to exceed this amount given selenium toxicity concerns at higher doses. His baseline international prostate symptom score was 16, moderate symptom severity. His PSA was 3.8 nanograms per milliliter, elevated but below the traditional 4.0 threshold. After 12 weeks of consistent Brazil nut consumption, William returned for follow-up assessment. His selenium level had increased to 118 micrograms per liter, now optimal. His IPSS score had decreased to 12, showing meaningful symptomatic improvement. Interestingly, his PSA had actually decreased slightly to 3.4 nanograms per milliliter. His physician noted this was encouraging, but emphasized continued monitoring was essential. William reported sleeping more soundly and feeling less anxious about his prostate situation. He said something that captured the psychological benefit of taking proactive nutritional steps. He told his doctor, "I finally feel like I am doing something constructive to help myself." Here is what happens at the cellular level when you optimize your selenium intake. Selenium incorporates into selenoproteins, which are essential for multiple physiological processes. Glutathione peroxidase enzymes require selenium to function and neutralize oxidative damage. Thyrodoxine reductases, another selenium-dependent enzyme family, help regulate cell proliferation and apoptosis. Optimal selenium status enhances the body's ability to eliminate damaged cells through normal, programmed cell death. This is important because cells that should die but do not contribute to tissue abnormalities. Selenium also appears to have effects on inflammatory cytokine production within prostate tissue. Research suggests adequate selenium levels help modulate immune responses that drive chronic inflammation. Here is exactly how to use Brazil nuts for optimal prostate selenium support. Amount: 1 to 2 Brazil nuts daily, absolutely no more than this amount. This provides approximately 70 to 150 micrograms of selenium. Exceeding 400 micrograms daily can cause selenium toxicity with serious side effects. Timing: Brazil nuts can be eaten at any time of day, whenever convenient for you. Preparation: raw Brazil nuts retain the most selenium content and nutritional value. Store them in the refrigerator to prevent their oils from becoming rancid over time. Combination: selenium works synergistically with vitamin E, making almonds an excellent complementary choice. The combination provides enhanced antioxidant protection compared to either nutrient alone. Timeline expectations: selenium levels typically normalize within 4 to 8 weeks of consistent consumption. Full cellular benefits may take 8 to 12 weeks to fully manifest. One critical note: Brazil nut selenium content varies significantly depending on soil selenium levels where grown. Nuts from Brazil typically contain more selenium than those from Bolivia. Consider having your selenium level tested periodically if you are using Brazil nuts therapeutically. Signs of selenium excess include hair loss, brittle nails, nausea, and garlic breath odor. If you experience these symptoms, reduce or stop Brazil nut consumption and consult your physician. How do Brazil nuts compare to selenium supplements for prostate health? A New Zealand study compared Brazil nuts to selenomethionine supplements directly in human participants. 2 Brazil nuts daily increased plasma selenium levels by 64% over 12 weeks. Selenomethionine supplements increased plasma selenium by 61% over the same period. Brazil nuts also increased glutathione peroxidase activity by 13% compared to 5% with supplements. The whole food provided superior antioxidant enzyme enhancement compared to isolated supplementation. Brazil nuts also contain additional beneficial compounds, including healthy fats and other minerals. Yet even selenium, with all its documented protective strength, is not the final and most important piece of this puzzle. There is one nut that works more comprehensively than all the others combined. One that addresses inflammation, circulation, cellular aging, and even sleep quality simultaneously. It is the nut I recommend most frequently to men who want lasting relief, not temporary symptom control. And that brings us to number 1, the most important recommendation of all. Number 1, walnuts, the prostate protector supreme. Here is a moment of complete honesty that many men find genuinely unsettling and even shocking. The prostate does not enlarge overnight, and despite what you may believe, it is not fundamentally broken. It is exhausted from years of relentless biochemical assault that nobody ever warned you about. Exhausted from chronic low-grade inflammation that accumulates silently month after month. Exhausted from continuous oxidative wear and metabolic stress at the cellular level. Exhausted from the body trying to manage all of this quietly on its own without help. When that internal physiological load becomes overwhelming, the prostate swells as a protective reaction. It is not a flaw in your biology or a sign of personal failure. It is your body signaling desperately that it needs support and different inputs. This is exactly why walnuts matter more than most men will ever fully realize. Walnuts are not simply another nutritious nut option you can add to your snack rotation. They are uniquely equipped to address the deepest, fundamental drivers behind prostate enlargement. The kind of drivers that pharmaceutical medications often manage only at the superficial symptom level. Walnuts contain the highest total antioxidant capacity of all commonly consumed tree nuts measured. They also provide a rare concentration of plant-based omega-3 fatty acids called alpha-linolenic acid. A University of California Davis study examined walnuts specifically in prostate cancer models. Mice fed a walnut-enriched diet developed significantly fewer tumors than control groups. Tumors that did develop in the walnut group grew approximately 30% slower. The walnut-fed mice had lower levels of insulin-like growth factor 1, a marker associated with prostate cancer risk. Researchers identified changes in gene expression in both tumor tissue and liver tissue. The scientists concluded that walnuts had large beneficial effects on genes involved in controlling tumor growth. Human studies have also shown promising results for walnut consumption and prostate health. A Pennsylvania State University study examined the effects of walnut consumption in older men at prostate cancer risk. Participants consumed 3 ounces of walnuts daily as part of their regular diet. The researchers found significant decreases in the ratio of serum alpha-tocopherol to gamma-tocopherol. This shift toward higher gamma tocopherol is associated with better prostate health outcomes. A lower ratio of alpha to gamma tocopherol was identified as protective in previous cardiovascular research. Omega-3 fatty acids fundamentally change the internal inflammatory environment of your entire body. They help interrupt the chronic inflammatory signaling cascades that keep prostate tissue perpetually irritated and tense. This is not a temporary symptomatic effect that wears off when you stop eating them. It is a foundational shift in your body's baseline inflammatory status over time. When systemic inflammation decreases, internal pressure on the prostate eases naturally. When pressure eases, urinary flow often improves without any pharmaceutical intervention needed. But walnuts do something even more remarkable that speaks directly to aging men specifically. The polyphenols found in walnuts are transformed in your gut by beneficial bacteria. These bacteria convert walnut polyphenols into compounds called urolithins through metabolic processing. Urolithins have been shown in research to support cellular resilience and mitochondrial function. They appear particularly beneficial in tissues prone to age-related inflammation, including prostate tissue. In simple terms, walnuts do not just temporarily soothe the prostate symptomatically. They may actually help prostate tissue age more slowly at the cellular and mitochondrial level. For men over 60, this distinction between symptom management and cellular protection is absolutely critical. Aging is inevitable, but accelerated deterioration of your prostate is absolutely not predetermined. Many of my patients describe walnut consumption not as a sudden dramatic improvement overnight. They describe it as a gradual return to balance and stability over weeks and months. Fewer nighttime interruptions disrupting their sleep architecture and recovery. Less urgency driving anxiety about bathroom accessibility throughout the day. A calmer bladder that does not dominate their thoughts and planning. Sleep that begins to feel genuinely restorative rather than constantly fractured. And along with better sleep comes better energy, clearer thinking, and a renewed sense of personal control. Let me tell you about Thomas Anderson, a 73-year-old retired teacher from Minneapolis. Thomas had been struggling with prostate symptoms for over 6 years with progressive worsening. He had tried alpha blockers, which helped somewhat, but caused problematic dizziness. He had tried 5 alpha reductase inhibitors, but discontinued due to concerning sexual side effects. He felt frustrated and defeated, believing he had exhausted his reasonable options. His international prostate symptom score was 23, indicating severe symptoms. He was waking 5 to 6 times nightly, never sleeping more than 90 minutes continuously. His quality of life had deteriorated significantly, affecting his marriage and social activities. His integrative physician suggested a comprehensive nutritional approach featuring walnuts as the cornerstone. Thomas began consuming 1 ounce of raw walnuts daily, approximately 14 walnut halves. He also incorporated smaller amounts of the other nuts we have discussed, in combination. His physician monitored him closely over a 16-week observation period. The transformation Thomas experienced was gradual, but ultimately remarkable in its scope. Week 2. Thomas noticed no significant changes, but remained committed to the protocol. Week 4. He reported slightly less urgency during daytime hours between bathroom visits. Week 6. His nighttime awakenings decreased from 6 to approximately 4 on average. Week 8. His sleep architecture began improving with longer continuous sleep periods emerging. Week 10. He reported waking only 2 to 3 times most nights now. Week 12. His energy levels during daytime hours improved noticeably from better sleep. Week 16, his repeat international prostate symptom score measured 15, down 8 points from baseline. His urologist was impressed by the improvement achieved without pharmaceutical intervention. Thomas said something that captured the profound emotional impact of his experience. He told his wife, "I finally feel like I am living my life again, not just managing symptoms." He planned a trip to visit his grandchildren that he had been postponing for 2 years. He rejoined his church choir, which he had withdrawn from due to fatigue and symptom anxiety. His marriage improved as the chronic sleep deprivation-induced irritability finally resolved. Here is what happens at the cellular and systemic level when you consume walnuts regularly. Alpha-linolenic acid from walnuts is converted by your body into longer-chain omega-3 fatty acids. These omega-3s incorporate into cell membranes throughout your body, including prostate tissue. They alter the production of inflammatory mediators called eicosanoids at the cellular level. Specifically, they shift eicosanoid production toward less inflammatory prostaglandins and leukotrienes. This reduces the chronic low-grade inflammation that drives prostate tissue irritation and growth. Walnut polyphenols, including elagitannins, are metabolized by gut bacteria into urolithins. Urolithin A specifically has been shown to improve mitochondrial function in aging tissues. Better mitochondrial function means better cellular energy production and more efficient cellular repair. The gamma-tocopherol in walnuts appears to have distinct benefits compared to alpha-tocopherol. Gamma-tocopherol has been shown to inhibit prostate cancer cell proliferation in laboratory studies. It appears to interfere with sphingolipid synthesis, which is important for cancer cell membrane integrity. Walnuts also contain small amounts of melatonin, a hormone that regulates sleep-wake cycles. For men struggling with disrupted sleep due to nocturnal urination, this provides additional support. Not sedation that leaves you groggy, just gentle alignment with your natural circadian rhythms. Here is exactly how to use walnuts for maximum comprehensive prostate health benefits. Amount: 1 ounce daily, approximately 7 walnut halves, or 14 pieces. This provides approximately 2.5 grams of alpha-linolenic acid omega-3. Timing: best consumed earlier in the day with breakfast or as a morning snack. The sleep-supporting melatonin content is modest and should not cause daytime drowsiness. Preparation: raw walnuts retain the most beneficial compounds and omega-3 content. Roasting can damage delicate omega-3 fatty acids and reduce their anti-inflammatory effectiveness. Storage: store walnuts in the refrigerator or freezer to prevent omega-3 oxidation and rancidity. Walnuts go rancid faster than other nuts due to their high polyunsaturated fat content. Combination: walnuts work synergistically with fatty fish like salmon, which provides EPA and DHA. The combination provides complementary omega-3 benefits from both plant and marine sources. Timeline expectations: anti-inflammatory effects begin building within 2 weeks of consistent consumption. Full benefits typically manifest over 8 to 16 weeks of regular daily intake. One critical note: walnuts are calorie-dense at approximately 185 calories per ounce. Account for these calories in your overall daily intake if weight management is important. If you have a tree nut allergy, walnuts are not appropriate and you should avoid them completely. How do walnuts compare to fish oil supplements for prostate inflammation management? Fish oil provides EPA and DHA, long-chain omega-3s that are highly anti-inflammatory. Walnuts provide ALA, a plant-based omega-3 that your body partially converts to EPA and DHA. The conversion rate is relatively low, approximately 5 to 15% efficiency in most people. However, walnuts provide benefits beyond just omega-3 content that supplements cannot replicate. The polyphenols, fiber, protein, and other minerals in walnuts contribute to their overall effect. The Predimed study found that increased nut consumption, especially walnuts, significantly reduced all-cause mortality. It also found reduced cancer mortality specifically associated with walnut consumption. These benefits were observed with whole food consumption, not isolated supplement intake. For optimal results, consider combining walnut consumption with fatty fish twice weekly. This provides comprehensive omega-3 coverage from both plant and marine sources together. Phase 3. Evidence-based conclusion. The science is absolutely crystal clear based on everything we have examined together today. These 5 nuts represent a fundamental shift in how you can approach prostate health management. This is not folk medicine or unsubstantiated health trends passed around on social media. This is systematic review-level evidence from Harvard, Johns Hopkins, Mayo Clinic, and Cochrane reviews. We are talking about research involving tens of thousands of participants tracked over years. Pistachios improve circulation and nitric oxide signaling to the prostate through arginine. Almonds provide cellular antioxidant protection and support a healthy gut microbiome. Pecans offer hormone-modulating beta-sitosterol that helps balance DHT signaling. Brazil nuts deliver selenium for enzymatic antioxidant defense at the cellular level. And walnuts address inflammation, cellular aging, and sleep quality comprehensively and simultaneously. Start simple with this approach because you do not need all 5 nuts immediately at once. Week 1. Begin with walnuts, 1 ounce daily, with your breakfast each morning. They are familiar to most people and require no special preparation or learning curve. The omega-3 and anti-inflammatory benefits begin building immediately with consistent consumption. Weeks 2 and 3. Add almonds and pistachios to your morning or afternoon snacking routine. A small handful of each provides complementary antioxidant and circulation support together. Month 2. Incorporate pecans and your 1 to 2 Brazil nuts daily as you feel comfortable. By this point, you will likely already be noticing some improvements in symptoms and sleep. The key to success is not perfection in following this protocol rigidly. The key is consistency over time, day after day, week after week. Even 3 or 4 of these 5 nuts consumed regularly provide significant cumulative benefit. Research suggests this level of compliance provides approximately 60 to 70% of maximum benefit. Your prostate does not have to deteriorate with age as an inevitable consequence of time. That belief is a myth, perpetuated by a healthcare system focused on disease treatment rather than prevention. Armed with this evidence-based nutritional knowledge, your 60s, 70s, and 80s can be vibrant. You are not just preventing prostate problems from getting worse with this approach. You are building a healthier prostate environment that rivals men significantly younger than you. If this evidence opened your eyes to new possibilities, subscribe for more research-backed health strategies. We release new evidence-based content every week, focused specifically on men over 60. Check the description below for links to the scientific studies I referenced throughout this video. You can read the original research yourself and share it with your healthcare provider. Drop a comment telling us which of these 5 nuts you plan to start incorporating first. I personally read every comment and often create follow-up videos based on your specific questions. Your questions help me understand what information will be most valuable for this community. Thank you sincerely for investing this time in learning about your prostate health today. Remember that knowledge without consistent action is merely entertainment that changes nothing. Let us transform this information into real, measurable improvement in your quality of life. You deserve to sleep through the night without constant bathroom interruptions disrupting your rest. You deserve to feel confident traveling without planning every stop around bathroom accessibility. You deserve to feel in control of your own body rather than controlled by your symptoms. One handful of nuts at a time, that transformation becomes genuinely possible for you.